Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. On February 25th, the Township of Hillsboro in New Jersey held a regular planning board meeting to review plans for proposed projects. By the end of the meeting, it was clear that the township was headed for a legal battle. But more on the fight that pitted a stream versus affordable housing later. For first, though you may assume that a site plan is merely a technical document, it is actually the heart of any development project, and it can become political. So in today's video, we'll cover the top things you should know. Number 1. A site plan is an architectural document that's meant to show the proposed improvements to any property. It will typically include what already exists on the property as well as what you intend to add, such as structures or landscape features. Local governments require site plans to ensure that local and state building codes are followed when changes are made to a property. Number 2. Site plans sometimes get confused with floor plans, but they are not the same. A floor plan describes the arrangement of rooms in one particular story of a building, while a site plan describes the arrangement of the entire property. Here is an example. Number 3. There are a number of reasons why you may want to commission a site plan, such as if you're looking to understand your property's dimensions. This means not only your property's boundary line dimensions, but also the dimensions of all improvements on the lot. In a similar vein, if you want to show your home or other property improvements relative to your property lines, you would need a site plan. More often, a site plan comes into play when you are looking to develop or improve a segment of your property, such as when you are designing a significant landscaping project, if you're looking to sketch out a new roof line, anytime you're submitting a building permit or applying for a demolition permit, and finally, if you are having an encroachment issue with your neighbor, a site plan may help in resolving the issue. Number 4, a site plan will often include the following information: your name and address as the owner, a legal description of the property, a scale, since the plan must be a scaled drawing, dimensions of all property lines and improvements, all property lines along with their appropriate dimensions, as well as existing and proposed structures. Typically, existing structures are drawn with solid lines and proposed with dashed. Setbacks imposed by local zoning ordinances, any existing and proposed streets, driveways, and parking spaces, as well as other improvements, including large areas of impervious surfaces and landscaping. Number 5, an architect, surveyor, or engineer will often produce the site plan, especially when it is a required component of a permit submission to a local jurisdiction. Having said this, some jurisdictions, especially in very rural areas, will allow you to draft the site plan yourself. Number 6, to find an existing site plan, check all of your closing documents that you received when you purchased the property. A site plan may have been included. If you can't find a site plan, contact your mortgage lender or title insurance provider to see if they have a site plan in their records. If a site plan had previously been filed as part of a permit application, it may be on record with the county or city government. You can start by checking through online records, but you may also want to give the local planning or building department a call. If you purchased your property from a building company or a developer, they may have site plans on record if the county or city cannot provide one. If all else fails, you will have to draft one yourself. There are some online services that use satellite imagery and county parcel maps to put together a site plan at a much lower cost. Just keep in mind that these site plans may not be as accurate, and thus you may not be able to use them if you're applying for a permit. And finally, number 7, if you are drafting and designing your own site plan, here are a few best practices. Check your local jurisdiction's requirements. Most jurisdictions have a list of things that they want to see on a site plan. So while you're drafting it, make sure you cover all of these requirements. Otherwise, you're going to have to submit multiple versions to the county or city for approval. Also, take into account zoning regulations early on. It's also helpful to call out any existing utilities. You'll need to show access to the property if the site plan is in conjunction with the creation of a new structure. And you'll want to consider topography, both when drafting your site plan and designing the placement of any new improvements and structures. In a similar vein, think about natural light and views and how these will affect placement of structures on the property. Wind patterns can be important as well, and so are natural drainage patterns. And one last item you should consider when putting together a site plan: streams and natural features. Which brings us back to the Hillsboro affordable housing debacle. In February of this year, Campus Properties submitted a preliminary site plan to the Planning Commission of the Township of Hillsboro for the construction of 96 apartments, 23 of which would be affordable. This was not the first time Campus had been before the commission. The project was first presented a few years ago when Campus applied for a variance that would allow multifamily housing on their 13-acre property, which was located in a light industrial zone. As often happens with multifamily and affordable housing proposals, there was a lot of community pushback on the size and scale of the project, but Hillsboro had a gun to their head. In 2015, Hillsboro had entered into a court-approved agreement to build a certain number of affordable housing units. The agreement was designed to avoid future litigation brought against the township for not doing enough to comply with legally required affordable housing obligations. As part of this agreement, Hillsboro had agreed to proceed with Campus's project, so Hillsboro had no choice but to agree to the rezoning. Yet this was not the end of the process. Once the zoning amendment was in place, Campus came back to the Planning Commission with a preliminary site plan for approval by the board. To their surprise, it was denied. The problem, according to the planning board, was a nearby stream. Under the township's stream corridor ordinance, all development had to be 150 feet from an existing stream. Campus's site plan, however, had provided only the 50-foot setback mandated by state law. Since a number of residents had come to the commission meeting to raise concerns over flooding in the neighborhood, the commission told Campus they needed to comply with the 150-foot setback and also provide a drainage study. Campus, in turn, took the township to court. Now, I acknowledge that this isn't the most exciting story I've highlighted in a video, but what interests me about it is that it is such a good case study of the kinds of small issues that can cause huge delays or conflicts in the pre-development process. So if you need to submit a site plan to your local planning department, don't assume that it will be rubber stamped. Make sure you understand the legal and political context you will be working in, or you may be surprised by the strength with which your proposal is opposed. But if you're curious about what happened with the Campus project, it did eventually move forward. The New Jersey Superior Court ruled that Hillsboro had violated a court-sanctioned settlement by denying the site plan application, and ordered that Hillsboro amend their stream ordinance to ensure the project was in compliance. Campus was also awarded attorney's fees and costs. The message: don't mess with settlements. Now, do you have any stories about site plans or site development? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.